Hey fam, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've still been rocking with me, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. I'm knocking out some videos real quick here, so there's no this is same day, same time. I'm not changing clothes, nothing. I got the shades on because I just sat here so long trying to get my thoughts together that the sun is kind of coming in my face right now. But I'm not gonna move because I want to get these thoughts down pat because they're heading somewhere important. So the first video I was talking about being able to hear, it's like spirit was kind of testing my hearing, fine tuning, seeing whether I could respond or not. And as I was thinking here today, that's not the first time that's happened to me. And actually on that same street, about a year or so ago, I had an unusual occurrence where I found myself being like suddenly inspired to stop at a smoke shop by there that I had never been into. Drive by it every day because it's like a block from the main grocery store I go to. But this particular day, I decided that I needed to go in there and look at some glassware, even though I had no intention of buying any. Even though, I don't know, I was just curious. So I'm going in to this smoke shop. No sooner than I had pulled in the parking lot, an older lady pulled in behind me. In fact, she almost hit me. And I stopped to ask if I could help because she seemed distraught. And she was. She was an older, I think she was like Armenian, something, I'm not sure. But she had an accent that I know that English was not her first language. Very nicely dressed lady in this Mercedes and all that, but she was so confused. She had either some Alzheimer's going on, some form of dementia, and she was having an episode. She literally could not remember how to get to her home, and she was about to lose it. And she was standing there about to cry and all that, so I just hugged her. I was like, we're going to figure this out. Obviously, I stopped my little looky-loo at the smoke shop because it wasn't important anyway. Yeah, that was just stupid. But I knew why I was being called there then. And I literally wound up having to hold on just a minute for me, please. I gotta mute this thing. I keep getting notifications. I literally had to take time, kind of go through her phone a little bit, then Google her address from what I saw on her driver's license after we ascertained that she had not moved, that was real. And this is the craziest thing now that I think about it in hindsight, but it was what happened at the time, and angels watched us. I put that old lady in the car and told her to stay on my bumper, and we tooled our way through rush hour noonday traffic in Atlanta across 11 miles of road. It's insane now that I think of it, and I don't even know her name. I don't remember. She hugged me so tight, and by the time I got there, the lady, her whoever she was staying with, she said she was fine. All the rest of that, she had invited me to come back. She was absolutely so grateful. I was just grateful I was able to help because I already understood it could have gone bad a number of different ways. Either she could have gotten out there, and if the police found her and she couldn't identify who she was and where she was going, she might wind up in a hospital for observation, and her family have no idea where she's at for a while. Or I don't live in a bad neighborhood. I live in a good neighborhood in Sandy Springs. However, a 70 something year old lady walking around with $20,000 to $30,000 worth of almost flawless diamonds on her hands, driving a Mercedes, confused and don't know who she is and where she is, that could have gone real bad for her if she had bumped into somebody other than someone like me. I'm not saying I'm the only one that would have helped her. I'm not nowhere near that, but I'm saying I do realize that walking into a smoke shop to ask for help, depending on who helped her, that could have gone bad for her. So I was grateful again that I could hear spirit and respond. So now we got that cool on helping other people, but we got to get to the obedience being better than sacrifice. Because I kept hearing it. I done did my little good deed. I'm high on life with that. I'm getting up and I'm starting to hear obedience is better than sacrifice. So much so that one of the readers that I watch also came up with it a few days later. She actually used that same phrase. And I'm like, okay, Spirit is trying to make me pay attention. Side note, excuse me, I work from home, but my job, I have a lot of downtime. I'm captive to a desk, but I'm not always with clients. So I set my work desk up so that I have my secular work stuff here, but off to the side, I also have my tarot deck. So I sit sometimes and I just practice and do readings for myself just because I enjoy it and, something to do. Every reading that I did from that point where I started hearing obedience is better than sacrifice up until like for over a week, every single reading I kept seeing something uncomfortable that I was trying to put my finger on it and I couldn't quite understand. And then to make bad matters worse, every time I would try to pull a reading for me and my twin, there's a deck called the Romance Angels. Every time I handle that deck, Release Your Ex came jumping up out of this deck. And I'm like, release your ex? I've been released my ex, and I did. We had decided to be friends for the sake of our child and all of that, but I ain't even friends with my child like that, and our child is 23 years old. So there came a point where I realized, you know what? I have to peel back from this energy. I can't be giving them more chances. Truthfully, love him all day as a human being, but he ain't truly my friend because the way I wouldn't have been in a lot of stuff. That's a whole nother subject and I'm over it. I'm not bitter. I'm not any of that. But long story short, he wasn't really my friend. And I had to realize that. So I severed that energy and went on about my business, but Release Your Ex kept popping up. What am I missing? I've released my ex. I don't feel no type of way about him. I've done the cord cuttings, all of that. I'm energetically done with this boy. Baby daddy is cool. Fact of the matter, once I actually did the cord cutting and released him completely, because he didn't want to be released, but by removing my energy, he actually sat down and started meditating instead of just faking like he had been doing when he was trying to impress me. He's found somebody and gotten married. So I'm like, what are they talking about? So dummy here, and I'm calling myself that, still didn't get it until it got to the point where like I said, my spirit guides had to step in, and yeah, since I still refused to get it, they had to get real jiggy with it. And that part, we're about 8 minutes in. I'm gonna make that into a part 3 for a video because I realize y'all ain't got all day to sit around and listen to my stories, but this story is important. So I wanted to break it up into bite-sized chunks to encourage you to actually sit and watch it, because where I'm headed is something that I feel is important for a lot of people, especially women who are wanting to call in their divine counterparts or real love. You might have been overlooking something like I did, and we need to talk about it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one here. Love you all day. Like I said, like a fat kid, love cake. Namaste. Until next time.